Hey guys, this is OG from Crypto Knights back with another Bitcoin update. If you appreciate the work that I do, please give this video a like. And if you want to get timely updates on my videos, please subscribe to this channel. With that said, so today we have a very special video. I'm going to look at Bitcoin in depth, providing a multi-time frame comprehensive overview of Bitcoin from the daily time frame down to the 4-hour, the 1 hour, and finally the 15-minute time frame. Bitcoin now is at a very important critical level. It's retesting the 200-day moving averages around kind of the 42 to 43 $1,000 level. Whether we break through or not will determine whether Bitcoin can rally to new all-time highs or start a new downtrend. So this is very key where we are at. So leave a comment below whether or not you think that we will break through and continue the bull run, or if you think we will get rejected here and go further down and potentially breaking down below 30k and further. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think, whether you're a bull or whether you're a bear. Okay, so let's start out with the daily chart. So taking a step back, right? So here Bitcoin has had a huge run, right? All the way from, let's say, 10k right here, and then up to 65k. So it's 6x, right? 6x in about half a year, right? Give or take. As Bitcoin was running up to the 60k levels, we saw that price was getting weak, right? There was a lack of momentum. So we saw these higher highs, right? Which is very indicative of a bull market. But with that said, we also saw that the higher highs were getting only incrementally higher, right? So for example, if we look back here, this high was around 40k. The next big impulse move took it to 58.3k, but then the higher high after that took us only to 61.8k. Right? This is not really much of a higher high, but even worse, this next high here took us to 64.8k. So we saw essentially a rounded top forming, and then during this, as this was happening, we also saw a head and shoulders pattern forming as well. So there are different ways to draw this head and shoulders, but the idea is the same, right? There was a head and shoulders pattern, and then if we actually, this is what I shared in my analysis back when. But if we take the fib, right, and pull it from this top to this leg down here, we saw that the 61.8 or the golden pocket was around 59k. So I was saying that if we fail to break above 59k, now this was the line in the sand, right, at that time. So if we fail to break above 59k, we were very likely to see a dump, right? For one, because we were already getting this rounded top. Two, because we were kind of forming this head and shoulders. It wasn't formed yet, but if we get rejected here, then very likely this was going to be the right shoulder, right? And then lastly, right, we also saw the fact that the 61.8 typically is a point of rejection, right? So whether big or small, but typically is a point of rejection or confirmation, right? So this is where I was being very cautious. I was saying, all right, 59k is a level that we must break through, right? If we fail, then we're most likely going down. And actually, this is exactly what happened. So we had we formed this right shoulder, which also ended happening being a lower high, right? So while this was these higher highs were only incremental, at least they were higher highs, right? Which still showed us that we were in a bull market. But once we broke through, we break down here and we formed this right shoulder. This was the first lower high on the macro level. So this was I actually started scaling out some of my positions here, not a lot, more less than I wanted to in hindsight, but this is where I started scaling out, and then scale out all that I wanted to around this breakpoint, right? When we broke down from this head and shoulders, I took everything that I wanted to into stablecoins or cash, and left and then left my HODL position that would hold for 5 to 10 years. That portion I'm leaving in there regardless of what happens to price in the short to medium term. But the portion that I was planning on that I was in a sense swing trading, if you will, that I took out. So I started taking out here at 59K, and then took all of it out around 47K, so around these areas. And so then we fell down, right? We had a huge crash after we broke this head and shoulders, met the target at around 30K, and now we're consolidating below the 200-day moving averages. So when this happened, right, when we moved below the 200 EMA here, around, let's say 42.5K, this is where a lot of people were saying that the bull market is over, that the bear market has started, because traditionally when most analysts, right, or most technical analysts, when they're looking at an asset, they use the 200-day moving average as a indicator of whether or not we're in a bull trend or a bear trend. And very simply put, if price is above the 200-day moving average, we're in a bull market, and if price is below that, then we're in a bear market. So simple as that. And so this is where a lot of people flip bearish, right? And so now, though, what we're seeing is interesting, is that we actually didn't get much separation from the 200-day moving average after we crashed below it. In fact, we're forming this consolidation right underneath. And so, two sides to this coin, right? One is that, as a continuation pattern, consolidation coming from a leg down typically means that we will have another leg down, if we break below it, right? Something like this, right? So the way that we enter into a consolidation pattern typically means is the way that we will exit it, right? So from a purely technical analysis perspective, there is a higher likelihood that we will break down rather than up. That said, this is something that I've seen time and time again, right, on different time frames for Bitcoin, which is price breaks below the 200 period moving average, because this doesn't always happen on the daily, and then it consolidates right underneath, and then breaks back above. This happens all the time with Bitcoin, and this is one of the patterns that I actually trade. So once we break back above, then this area now becomes a short trap, right? This is where we trap a lot of bears, right? All the people who think that, okay, we're not below the 200-day moving average, we're in a bear market, let me short. This is all the guys that are trapped down here, right? So Bitcoin has a tendency to do that, whether it's on a 15-minute, the hourly, the 4-hour, all the daily time frames. Bitcoin does that all the time. And so the fact that price is staying here instead of consolidating, let's say down here at 25K or 20K, the fact that it is hugging, right, the 200-day moving average suggests to me that there's a high likelihood that this is actually a bear trap. Of course, we need to wait for confirmation, right? Either way, right? So if we break below 30K, then the bear scenario is confirmed. If we break above 42.5 or 43K, then the bulk scenario is confirmed, right? So right now we're in this consolidation zone where we are waiting for either one of these scenarios to play out. But if we do break out to the top, there's a high likelihood that bull market is back on, that we are in this super cycle, right? Or we are in this double bubble, right? However you want to call it. Many people are calling it different names, but the idea is that there are two tops to this bull market rather than one top to this bull market, right? So similar to 2013 rather than to 2017, right? So if this plays out, we will likely break 65K, we likely go to 100K and beyond, right? Because then we're going to see another exponential move up on the daily time frame, on the weekly time frame. So this is the level to watch, right? 42.5 or 43K. If we break above, I'm going to be a mega bull unless we have a breakout and we break back down below again. But assuming we break above and then we start to see price confirm the move above, then this is going to be potentially one of the life-changing opportunities that any market will be able to offer in the next 5 to 10 years. Now, with that said, let's drill down a little bit further to the 4-hour time frame. So on the 4-hour, many of you that have been following either me or any of the technical analysts out there, have been seeing this chart, right? The fact that we were in this symmetrical triangle, right? And where we had lower swing highs and higher swing lows, right? So typically, so essentially, it's a symmetrical triangle. And then there were multiple fake outs, right? Initially there was a fake out here to the top, then there was a fake out here to the bottom, there was another fake out to the top, another fake out to the bottom, and then now finally breaking through, right? And this is not looking like a fake out, at least not right now, right? So of course we could still break back down, but this looks different than this, and this, right? These fake outs we broke back within the triangle very quickly, whereas this is we broke above and then we're consolidating, right? We're not breaking back below. So of course anything can happen in crypto. So but I'm just saying what I'm seeing, and the what is more likely to happen than not, right? So but the fact that we broke above and when we're consolidating suggests to me that there's higher likelihood that we will see continuation. And if we take a look at this, whether or not you see this as a symmetrical triangle or a here or a descending triangle like this, doesn't matter, right? What matters is that we have this series of swing highs that were forming lower highs, right? So we had a high here, a lower high, a lower high, a lower high, right? So a series of lower highs, and then we finally broke through right here. So around 37.5 K, we broke through this resistance trend line, and then even better, we pumped above the 200 period moving average on the 4-hour time frame, right? We're close above, and now we're consolidating right on the 200 EMA, right? So this is very bullish. Not to mention the fact that we actually broke above the last 3 out of the 4 swing highs, right? So this high here is higher than this high, higher than this high, and higher than this high. The only high that we have yet to conquer is this initial high here at around 42.5K. So actually matching up very well with the 242.5K level on the daily time frame. This serves as extra confirmation that this is a confluence level, right? 42.5K, 43K. The thing is that this means that this level will likely, right, be an area of strong resistance, right? The fact that this is where where bulls and bears will be fighting, because this is where the bearish and bullish markets will flip, right? We should expect bears to put up a fight, right? That said, right, we don't know, right? It's also possible that we could consolidate here and then build up enough energy, right? Enough buying power where we smash right through, right? The way that we saw if we go back to the daily time frame, right? This is, I don't know if how many of you were in this market at that time, but I was, and either way, it's something that's important to share. So back here, right after the 2017 high, we crashed to around 6K, right? This was where a lot of people thought where the bottom was, right? 6K. Unfortunately, it wasn't, right? We actually had another leg down, capitulation, if you will, right, down to around 3K, and people were saying, and literally every analyst was saying that 6K, right? Literally, it was the headlines were 6K is Bitcoin's biggest resistance ever, right? 6K is Bitcoin's kind of biggest level that we will be able to that we won't be able to break for some time. But what happened? We smashed right through it like it was nothing. Like there was nothing there. There was not even a bounce, right? Nothing. It was just right up. So it's also possible that a level that's very obviously as a support or resistance level, a level that where everyone's sometimes, right, when there's a level where everyone's thinking that this will be a formidable level, sometimes it actually just breaks, right? So that's a possibility. So I'm just mentioning these things so that you guys are aware of the possible scenarios, right? No one can tell the future. I'm not here to predict exactly what will happen. I'm here to share what I've seen in the charts in Bitcoin's history and what are the likely scenarios that could play out, so that you can prepare yourself either way, right? So you're not caught off guard or taking on risks that you shouldn't be taking, so that whatever happens, you have a game plan, right? So so if A happens, you'll do this. If B happens, you'll do that, right? So that's all we can do in crypto, right? Or in any investment or trading plan. No one can tell the future, otherwise they would be, they would own the world, right? I mean, they would be buying up, Apple, Google, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all of them when they're pennies, right? And they would take over the world. But that's not how this works, right? It's all about probabilities. It's all about preparing yourself for the possible scenarios, and then making sure that you have a game plan to be profitable or to cut losses, whatever the case might be. So with that said, let's get back into the charts. So on the 4 hour, so we're bullish, right? As long as we stay above, or as long as we're in this consolidation pattern, I'm bullish. If we were to break below, right? If we let's say close below 38.5K, then I'm going to have to reevaluate, right? Whether or not we're still in the bull case. But with that said, there is a possibility, right, that we could come back to retest the point of breakout, right? So a lot of times there's a once we have a breakout, we come back to retest it before moving up. So I'm not saying it's the end of the world if we break 38.5K. I'm just saying that I will be starting to reevaluate. But where I would be looking to change my mind would be if we were to break below this, right, 36.5K, call it, right, which means that we actually broke out, came back to retest it, but this resistance failed to turn into support, and we're back into this back under this trend line. Then I most likely would be flipping to neutral or maybe even bearish. But we'll wait, we'll see, right? We'll see what happens in the markets. Now, drilling down to the 1 hour, guys, I know this has been a long video, but I really wanted to, in this video, I really wanted to share all my thoughts and tell you guys exactly all the things that I'm seeing, all the things that I'm thinking, so that you can prepare yourself, because we are at a critical level, right? This could be, the decision that you make here could change your life, for better or worse, right? Because in trading, there are always two sides to the coin, but this is one of those critical moments, right? Maybe once every year, or once every few years, or once every few months. It happens once. It happens like once every every few months or a year or so. So it's not something that happens all the time, which is why I'm taking the time out to do this video and doing it extra in depth. And so on the 1 hour, we're seeing that we are in this consolidation pattern, as we saw on the 4 hour time frame. So yesterday, actually, when I was looking at it, we were in this symmetrical triangle pattern, but we actually had fake outs at both the top and the bottom. So we broke out, but then we got rejected. We broke down, then it came back. So now we're looking more. You can still see it like this, right? You can see this as wicks, and we're still in this triangle, or you can see that we are in this channel. Honestly, it doesn't matter. The fact that is that we are in this consolidation, and we're looking for a break above or below to give us an indication of the potential next move. And then now finally drilling down to the 15-minute time frame, this very micro level. So here again, we are seeing this consolidation, right? Top, bottom, top, bottom. So we actually came back down to the 200 period moving average on the 15-minute. We are now kind of just sitting on it, and so one of the first signs I will be looking at is if we break below this, then on the micro time frame, it's bearish. So I want to be aware of that. And then if we were to break above here, 41.5, 41.6K, then this could suggest to me that we're starting the move up. So these are the two levels I'm looking at on the immediate term, right? Around 40K and then around 41.5K. So guys, this is it. This is the that's it for today. It's a long video, but hopefully you found it helpful. And I urge you to take some time out, the next couple days to really think about your portfolio, your positions, whether it's your hodl portfolio, whether it's your swing trading portfolio, whether it's your day trading portfolio. Really, just take a look, and figure out where you are positioned overall, whether the risk exposures that you have match with what your investment thesis is, and that your portfolios are prepared for the reaction here, right? If we were to break up, do you think you have enough exposure? If we, let's say, get rejected, are you overly exposed, right? And maybe you can come up with a plan, right? maybe come up with a plan with when to scale out, when to scale in, when to sell some of your position, when to maybe buy more. Really form a plan here, because when this moves, right, it might move very quickly. You might not have time to react in the moment, and then you're gonna regret it, looking back and saying, why didn't I make a plan? I saw this coming, right? I saw this potential scenario, and I didn't do anything to plan, and now I'm missing it. And that would just I would hate to see, I would hate to have that happen, right? Because even worse than missing the opportunity or making the wrong move is that it actually leads you to make one mistake after the other, right? So if you fail to get enough exposure, you might FOMO in at the wrong time, right? If you're overexposed, you might be forced to or emotionally sell or panic sell when really it was the price gets into the buy zone, right? So guys, that's enough for today, I guess. I've said a lot, but really, guys, I urge you to just look at your portfolio, and hopefully this video has been helpful. If it has been, please do smash up that thumb up button. It truly means a lot to me. I'm just starting out this YouTube video. Need to push this, trying to figure out how YouTube works, how to push content out, how to get subscribers. And so really appreciate if you're watching this to just take a second and click that like button. It truly means a lot. Thank you guys, and see you guys in the next video.